Are you looking to get the best lawn on the block and impress your neighbors every time someone drives by your house? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Great Green North. My name is Wade Murray. I'm a lawn care enthusiast as well as I've worked in the industry, and today we're going to be doing the ultimate fall renovation guide, telling you how to get your lawn to be the best and nicest on the block. It all starts this fall with some simple renovation tips that you can do to get a lawn just like this one. So without further ado, if that sounds like a good idea, make sure you hit subscribe. Check the timestamps down below in the comment section or in the description of this video. We'll guide you to where you need to go to watch the video. Without further ado, without wasting any time, let's get right into it. So over the years, I've done many renovations on the lawn, from full start renovations to sod repairs, as well as overseeding renovations. I've done the most overseeding renovations of all, and as you can see, it's come with some great results, as you can see behind me. And this is how I was able to turn my lawn around. So without further ado, let's talk about where your lawn is sitting currently and how that could direct with what you need to do. So most of you are probably looking at a lawn that's looking a little thin, looking a little worse for wear after we've made it through the summer period. Summer is a time of stress for the lawn, and that's normally when the lawn tends to check out and you tend to see a little bit of browning. You tend to lose your lawn, it gets a little thinner over the summer, and that's normally why fall is the best time to do a renovation, because the temps are cooler, the lawn thrives in the fall. There's less shoot growth, so the growth we see above the lawn, more root growth, the stuff we see below the lawn, which is really good for developing new turf grass to give them the best chance to survive the following summer, as well as survive through the winter. As well as the temperatures are pretty temperate. We don't see a lot of fluctuation in the fall as we do in the spring. Everything kind of slowly cools down till the end of the year, and it's much better and much more stabler to try to grow grass in the fall season over the spring. So without further ado, how is your lawn? Without further ado, there's a couple questions that you need to ask yourself before you can decide what fall renovation you need to do. And let's go over those three questions right now. So there's three simple questions you need to ask yourself about what renovation should I do this fall. The first question is how many weeds do I have in my lawn? How much weeds do I have in my lawn versus how much grass do I have in my lawn? So if your lawn is more than 30% grass, so actually 30% turf grass as you see here, then you can go ahead and do an overseed renovation. There's no need to start fresh. You have enough grass to work with there that you can recover your lawn and build a better lawn from that foundation. If your lawn is less than 30% grass, a lot of weeds, or just a whole lot of nothing, then it's probably better to start fresh, either with a sod renovation or a seed renovation. Second question you need to ask, what are the traffic sources on this lawn going to be for the upcoming fall? So for example, if you have a young family, you have a whole bunch of kids that tend to play, the lawn might get a lot of traffic from kids playing soccer, baseball, playing in the yard, etc. This might be a reason for you to look into a sod renovation over a seed renovation, as sod is kind of an instant lawn. It can deal with some heavier traffic and still do okay. When a seed renovation, you're going to have a dirt pit in your backyard for about 2 months that's not going to be able to be walked on, or you might want to do a bit of both, do a bit of a sod area and a seed area, depending on the traffic sources you have on your lawn. And the third thing is, what kind of soil and weather and climate am I in? So I'm going to put a chart up on the screen here. It's going to show you your cool season grass, your transition zone, and your warm season grass. Most of us here in Canada, where I'm located, Southern Ontario GTA area around Toronto, we are all cool season grass. Our growing season is about May to October. And what we're looking at is, when we're talking about where we're located, is how long do we have before that first frost. So you want to give the lawn about 6 weeks, the new grass you're planting, about 6 weeks to become established before you're going to get that first frost. Because if it's not established enough when that first frost comes, it will kill the new grass. It will not make it through the winter. So right now, it is currently September 8th today. I'm going to be doing my renovation in 4 days today, and that's going to give me about 6 weeks to the dot for this grass to survive. Now, our winters have been getting a little bit warmer, so I probably will have a little bit longer than 6 weeks, but sometimes the frosts come over. Last night we had a low of 7 degrees Celsius, So you want to make sure that you're gonna be able to give your grass, your renovation, the best chance to survive. You're putting all this money in now, making sure that it's the best chance to survive makes the renovation worth it the most for you. So without further ado, let's start this video by talking to those of you whose lawn are less than 30% grass. Those of you who are going to be doing a complete replacement renovation. Alright, so for the less than 30% grass folks, I figured there was no better way to go than my side lawn. This lawn was less than 30% grass this spring. It had a full renovation. This is basically, there was dirt here earlier in the spring. So what you're going to do if you have less than 30% grass, if you have a lot of weeds, you're going to start with a Roundup or glyphosate treatment. If you can get Roundup from your local farm supply store, the glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup that kills anything that's green, is going to be higher, and it will have a better chance of killing the lawn faster. So you're going to get this and you're going to apply it on the lawn. You're going to make sure that you use cardboard as well as wearing specific boots to make sure that you're killing the lawn and nothing else. You're going to do it on a day where it's not windy and there's no chance of rain. You're going to apply this on your lawn, and then you're going to need to wait about 2 weeks after the application before you can go ahead and plant your grass seed. The reason why you need to wait 2 weeks is because the glyphosate can still be active and it can damage or hurt the germination rate of the new grass seed you're planting. So you want to make sure that you're waiting that proper time for it to give your seed the best chance to survive. Now, once you've waited that 2 weeks, you're going to take your lawnmower, you're going to set it to the lowest setting, and you're going to scalp everything down, all the leaf surface that's left over from your old grass, your old weeds. Scalp everything down, get rid of all that leaf surface. You don't need it for this renovation. Now you have the opportunity to choose whether you're going with seed or sod. First of all, let's talk about going with seed, and then we'll move on to going with sod. So if you're choosing to go with seed because traffic is not a problem with you and you're looking to save a little bit of money, the next step you're going to do is you're going to rent a rototiller, and you're going to till all the soil that's there. Till everything in that you already removed. You're going to till about the top 3 to 4 inches. This will help relieve any compaction problems that you may be having in your lawn. A lot of subdivision lawns are quite over compacted from the building in the house, and they don't really get graded properly when they go to plant the sod, and that's normally why sod does not succeed in initial subdivision planting. So you're going to get this rototiller, you're going to till the top 4 inches all the way around, then you're going to get either a level lawn or a drag, and you're going to smooth it out, or just a hand rake. Smooth it out, remove all the clumps, try to get rid of as many high spots and low spots, make it as smooth as possible. You can do this yourself with a piece of wood. Just get it and drag it across the lawn, and that will fill in the low spots as well as remove the high spots when all the soil is nice and loose. If you have a bit of a larger area, you can get a level lawn, go back and forth. That will help fill in the low spots and raise up the high spots. Or if you can tie a piece of wood to the back of your lawnmower, like I did when I did this renovation, drive around in circles and slowly grade everything out. It works quite well. You're going to remove all the clumps, and then once that is done, you're going to go ahead and get your seed. Now, for planting grass seed, I do not recommend anything other than an elite grass seed. Either the elite grass seed blend from GrowForge, one of their monostand blends, or anything else. For a larger lawn, for a beginner, I would definitely recommend sticking with an elite grass seed blend from GrowForge. If you're someone who's looking for a little bit more of a challenge, you can stick with a monostand. Now, for those of you who are new here and you're wondering, what am I talking about with these big words? A grass seed blend, like most grass seeds that we pick off the counter at the big box store, have more than one type of grass seed. You're going to have your Kentucky bluegrass, your perennial ryegrass, and your creeping red fescue or your turf type tall fescue mixed in there. The three of them give you the best success. This is because when one cannot grow very well in a shady area, the other one might perform better. Or when one gets hit by disease in the spring, the other two will thrive through the spring, but they'll suffer more from disease in the fall when the one that suffered in the spring comes back in. It's kind of like a group, they work together. There's always one that prevails during the best time of the year to give you the greenest lawn throughout the entire season. The grass that you're seeing behind me right here, this is the GrowForge Elite Turfgrass Blend. This is a fescue and bluegrass blend. I believe there is some rye in here as well. These are all elite varieties. This means that they have been bred to give the greenest, darkest lawn that you can have with the least amount of maintenance, as well as the best color response to fertilizer and the least amount of inputs through water. So they're supposed to be drought tolerant, and I can say for a fact that throughout this entire summer when other parts of my lawn were checking out, this section never checked out due to drought suffering. And I've been slowly overseeding the rest of the lawn with the Elite Turfgrass blend, and it's been performing really well, so I've been really happy with it. For example, here is the Elite Turfgrass blend behind me right here. Very thick and healthy. You know, it's still a little thin over here. And then these are the mono stands over here. As you can see, the mono stands are suffering more from disease and drought stress, because when one attribute hurts a monostand, it hurts the entire thing. Where with a blend, you might see some thinning, but overall, the blend should be healthy enough to survive as a group. This is why for beginners, I would recommend to stick with a blend. It is the easiest lawn to maintain and will give you the best chance of success. You're going to put down that seed at 7 to 10 pounds per thousand, or whatever is recommended in the bag. If you're using the GrowForge Elite Turfgrass blend, I believe it is recommended at a new planting rate of 5 to 7 pounds per thousand. And that can be put down with a broadcast spreader. Make sure that when you're going around the edges, you have an edge guard or you're using some sort of drop spreader. This is just to keep the grass seed from getting tossed into the garden beds. This helps give you nice clean lines on the edges. Then after that's done, you can take the back of a spring rake, you can rake the grass seed just lightly to get that seed to soil contact to make sure those two are staying together. Then you can talk about seed coverings. If you're on a hill or you're in an area where you're going to have a heavy washout, like this area here is kind of a gully here where the water drains from up there out and down the driveway, you can put some sort of seed covering down, either peat moss or some sort of like erosion resistant blanket, either a straw blanket, or sometimes they make the erosion resistant ones you can pick up at the big box store, and they have some sort of recycled paper or foam in them. That's going to help you have the best success. You just put all this money, all this work, fixing your grading, putting down this expensive grass seed, and now that one big rainfall, and you know what will happen when you put the seed down is going to wash it all away. So making sure that you invest some money in that erosion control will help make sure that you'll have the greatest chance of success. Once all this is all done, all put down, you're going to water it every day. You're going to keep that soil damp 24/7 until you see germination. And for the Elite Turfgrass blend, germination is about 14 to 21 days. So you're going to keep the soil surface wet. It doesn't have to be soaking. I don't want to see puddles. I want to see it damp on the surface. So what this most of the time means is watering for 15 to 20 minutes twice a day, once in the afternoon, once in the early afternoon around noon, once in the later afternoon around 4. Most of the time, this time of year, the dew in the morning helps keep it damp in the morning, and then you can make sure that you're keeping it damp in the afternoon when that sun comes out and that wind starts blowing and it slowly starts drying things out. That's what you're going to be doing to keep this grass. Once you see germination, you're going to shift it to a single watering a day for about another 2 weeks, watering it once a day, but again, not letting those newly germinated grass seeds dry out, but you're going to want to be hitting it with a little bit deeper waterings. So maybe instead of doing 2 waterings a day, 20 minutes each, do 1 watering a day at about 30 minutes. And then after that, you can start cycling it off towards your normal watering cycle. Now when it comes to cutting this, you're not going to want to get on and cut this new grass seed until it is at least 1/3 longer than what your desired height of cut is. So for example, that would be if my desired height of cut is 3 inches and I have planted this grass seed, I am not going to cut it until the grass is at least 4 inches long, 1/3 longer than my desired height of cut. And when I cut it, I'm not going to do any sort of striping. I'm not going to, be doing crazy turns or trying to get any lines in it or anything. Quick on and off for at least the first month. Give it some time to grow in, become more healthy and more resistant before you start putting the striper and putting it through the paces. As well as this, at the time of seeding for fertilizing, you're going to want to put down some starter fertilizer, and then I would put down starter fertilizer about every 3 weeks for the entire germination period. That's how you're going to make sure that The lawn's going to be pushed to keep that germination, keep everything growing, and keep everything healthy. So that's it for the seeded in area. Any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments down below or reach out to my website. Next thing we're going to move on to is sod. So if you are living in an area where you're going to need a bit more higher traffic, or you have a quicker solution, say it's later in the year and you don't have enough time to wait for the lawn to become established through seed, sod might be your best option. Sod will be quite more expensive than seed most of the time. The normal factors are 5 times the price of grass seed is what you're going to pay for sodding a lawn, but it can be successful as well. What you're going to do when you're sodding a lawn, same thing. If you have less than 30% grass, you're going to go ahead, get some Roundup, spray everything out, spray all the weeds out, then you're going to get a rototiller, you're going to till the surface, you're going to grade everything with a drag, fill in any low spots, and at this time you're going to put down a starter fertilizer, and then you're going to order fresh cut sod from a sod farm. This is the most important thing. The sod that you are installing should be cut that morning. So at the sod farm, they wake up, they cut it, they roll it, they pallet it, they drive it to your house, and they deliver it. If you're picking up sod, sod does not have a shelf life. It does not keep. If you're picking up sod from a big box store or garden center that's been sitting outside in the sun for 3 or 4 days, the chance of that sod successfully being transplanted is very low. Sod is very sensitive. You are basically transplanting it. It is like an organ transplant in your body. It needs to be preserved and installed as fast as possible for the greatest chance of success. It is a living entity, and you've removed one of its things that it needs to live, which is the soil. So you need to be transplanting it and putting it back on fresh soil ASAP. So what you're going to do, once you've graded everything, you're going to put down a starter fertilizer on top of that soil. You're going to put that down at about 3 pounds per thousand. That's going to give your sod a nice boost of nutrients, and then you're going to grab that sod and you're going to start laying it. You're going to be making sure that you're mending the seams, so you're making sure that you're pinching those seams together with your thumbs. Your thumb should hurt after installing a day's worth of sod. As you're installing the sod, you're going to be making sure you're staggering the seams as well. A good tip for cutting sod is a bread knife. So if you go out to the store and you buy a cheap bread knife, it helps cut with cutting sod way easier. It's very easy to cut sod with a bread knife over an X-Acto knife. As you're staggering those seams, as soon as you have an area large enough to throw a sprinkler down, you're going to instantly start watering that sod. Then you're going to keep going until your entire sod is finished. And then you're going to continue to water that sod every day until it takes. So as you're going to walk up to the sod, you're going to grab the piece of sod and you're going to lift it up. Underneath, it should be damp. Again, not soaked, but damp. You're going to continue to keep it damp underneath, which again involves watering about twice a day for 20 minutes at a time until that sod is rooted. So until when you go and grab it and you give it a light tug up, it won't come out of the soil. That's when you know the sod is taking. This is probably normally about a week to 14 days after you've installed the sod that it will start taking. Then you can switch it off to watering it once a day for about another 2 weeks. So you're going to water it for an hour a day in every spot once a day for 2 weeks. Then you can move it to watering every other day, and then you can cycle it back to your own watering cycle. Once you hit back to your own watering cycle, that is when it will become time to hit the sod with some starter fertilizer again, and you probably want to hit it with a third time before the end of the season. Now, the biggest question I get with sod too is, can I plant sod at the end of October? The answer is yes. You can dormant plant sod. I don't recommend it. It's not the greatest chance of success, but it is possible. If you plant the sod and give it some water before the end of the season comes, the sod will most likely live through the spring. But I would say if you can get the sod down now, that would be the best. If you have to use heat to melt frozen rolls of sod before you're laying them down, then that is obviously not a good solution. And again, farm fresh sod, if you have to melt the rolls to put them down, then it's obviously not farm fresh. It hasn't been harvested that morning. So that's it for sod. Sod is a great solution to making even just in a small area of your lawn around your house very susceptible to traffic. If you wanted to do a sod 6 feet away from your house all the way around and then switch to seed, you can blend the two of them together with an overseed later. But if you're getting farm fresh sod with high quality turf grass, you should have great success in the near and distant future with that lawn, have no problems keeping it healthy and happy. Next, but most finally not least, we're going to be heading into the bigger renovation, the fall renovation, overseed and aeration. So without further ado, let's get right into that. All right, so one of the best ways to renovate your lawn without destroying everything and starting fresh is using what you already have with a process that's called overseeding. You're basically going to be adding new seed into the lawn to help revitalize it and strengthen what's already there. Overseeding is a tactic that's been used for many years. The average grass seed lifespan is about 15 to 20 years, and you're going to see those cultivars are going to slowly kind of start to die off and not be able to give you the color and everything that you need out of it. They're becoming old, they've been in the lawn for a long time, and they should be rejuvenated with new cultivars on quite a regular basis. The grass will spread and create its new growth, but you're kind of aiding in the process with this overseed, and that's what this is all about. So first thing you're going to do, if your lawn is more than 30% grass, then you can go ahead and hit a aeration and overseed. So number one, you're going to get some Fiesta, or if you're in the States, you can get something with 2,4-D, and you're going to go ahead and spray out all of the weeds that you see, broadleaf, clover, anything. Spray it out, get rid of it. You don't need it in your lawn. It's going to cause more problems than help. So get rid of it, and then as soon as you sprayed that out, you should wait about a week, and then you can go ahead and rent a core mechanical aerator. You want to make sure that you're renting a plug aerator, not a spike aerator. This aerator is going to pull plugs, should be about 3 to 4 inch plugs, out of the soil and sprinkle them along the surface. This is going to create a perfect seed bed for planting your new lawn into. So as you're pulling these plugs, you want to make sure that you're pulling about 3 to 4 inch plugs. The best way to do this is to make sure that you water your lawn or it rains the night before. The wetter the soil, the better it will stick together, the easier it will be able to pull longer plugs. The last couple times I've done it, we've actually had a torrential downpour the night before, and I've been pulling 4.5 inch plugs. So you can easily pull big plugs. When the soil is hard and dry, it's harder to pull large plugs, and it's better to make sure, even if you just got to water it deeply the night before, to loosen up that soil so you can pull nice plugs. Once you rent this core mechanical aerator, you can normally get them at your local big box store, load them up in the back of the truck and bring them to your lawn. You're going to aerate the lawn up and down vertically, and then you're going to go side to side after. You want these plugs, when they're these holes that are sprinkled in your lawn, to be about 2 to 3 inches apart all the way over the lawn, and you're going to have those cores littered on top of your grass. Now, this is the moment where you're going to think that you destroyed your lawn and you just made a mess of what you already had, but don't worry, it's going to get better than this. Once you've aerated everything, go ahead, return the aerator. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your seed and you're going to overseed about 3 to 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. You're going to put that seed down, broadcast it all on top of the lawn. No need to do anything else other than broadcasting it on top of the lawn, and then you're also going to get some fertilizer, and you're going to fertilize the lawn 3 pounds per 1,000 with nitrogen. Get some sort of balanced fertilizer, a 16-16-16 or a 10-10-10. Put that down at 3 pounds per 1,000. That will kind of help with the starter fertilizer on the new grass seed you planted, as well as strengthening the lawn that you just kind of gave it a little bit of some damage with the aerator. And then what you're going to do is you're going to water every day, keeping the ground damp for 2 weeks. Then you're going to move to every other day for another week, and then you're going to cycle it back on your regular watering cycle. What you're going to notice is the seed that you planted will work its way down into the cores that you pulled down in those holes, and then you'll start to notice seed germinating out through the holes that you aerated, as well as the soil will slowly fill those holes back in. All of those cores you sprinkled on top will slowly break down with the water. With your watering, they'll still definitely break down. About a week or two, those cores will be gone. You won't even have to worry about them. It will help level out some areas, make the lawn a little bit less bumpy, as well as it's great because it's a perfect seed bed. You get a seed covering as well as those holes, which makes sure that the grass seed gets down and has perfect seed to soil contact, as well as it allows water to penetrate deeper into the soil when you're watering, so the roots that are already there will drive deeper because the surface of the soil is now a little bit lower because you pulled these plugs, as well as it also allows nutrients to drive deeper into the soil, to make the roots to drive deeper, to make your lawn more resilient to heat and drought stress in the future. This is why aerating and overseeding every year is a great idea. Even if you don't overseed the entire lawn, you just seed some bare patches, aerating is a great idea. It relieves compaction in the soil. The looser the soil, the easier it is for the roots to drive deeper and have a healthier and more deeply rooted lawn that becomes more susceptible to drought, fungus, and all those other stresses to our lawns. As well as this, it helps thicken out the lawn. When you kind of thin, it's called a herd, right? You're thinning out the lawn. Sometimes the lawns get too thick and then they kind of start to go all brown and they're not happy. You kind of cull the herd, you thin out all of the weak areas, and then the lawn says, I got to repair myself, and it grows and it refills in those areas and it becomes nice and thick and healthy, and that's what you get from aerating. The overseeding will help fill in any thin areas, any areas where maybe you didn't have any grass, all the grass had died, any shaded areas where maybe the grass doesn't survive very well throughout the summer and you kind of need those shaded areas to help fill the lawn back in. All of that will be repaired with the overseed, as well as the fertilizer helps kind of kickstart the lawn into the fall and give it the best chance of success. Now, as far as mowing with the aeration overseed, this is the biggest question I always get. There is no need to change your mowing habits. The last mow, before you aerate, mow it 1 notch shorter than what you would normally mow. So if you're normally mowing at 3 inches, cut it at 2.75. This will just give a little bit less leaf surface on the grass for the aerator to rough up and get stuck in. But after that, just continue mowing. When it gets too long, cut the grass. The longer you leave the grass to grow, it will shade out the roots and it won't allow your new grass seed to get sun, and it will cause more problems than help. Obviously, if there's complete bare areas, stay off of those until the seed is germinated enough. But for the lawn itself, you're going to cause more hurt letting your lawn grow overgrown and then covering the entire thing with clippings than if you just continue cutting it on your normal cutting cycle, and you're just going to deal with you're going to lose a little bit of the seed over time. It's not a big deal. When I worked for the lawn care company, we would do these aeration overseeds all the time, and we never took people off our schedules when we did it. It was always go out there, continue cutting at like clockwork, and we never ever saw no one have success from doing this kind of lawn renovation. So that's the big tip with the fall renovation, the aeration overseed. I would recommend anybody whose lawn is more than 30% grass, this is the best option to help rejuvenate, get a better and healthier lawn. If you're noticing your lawn is extremely susceptible to certain diseases, certain drought stresses, it might be a good idea to aerate and overseed your lawn, get some elite cultivars in there with the elite turf grass blend. If you're not happy with the type of grass you had, you notice it's kind of wispy and falling over, when you want to kind of shake things up, aeration overseed is another way to get some new cultivars in there, help get a better color response, a better accuracy response. And as I said, even if your lawn is quite thick and healthy like mine, I will be doing an aeration overseed this year. I will not be overseeding the back lawn. I will only be overseeding the side and the front where I see the thinning happening. But the back lawn will be getting aerated and fertilized. It will help relieve the compaction from the riding mower, as well as it will help drive the nutrients, drive the water, drive the roots deeper to make a healthier lawn overall. And that's what we're striving for here when we're talking about these lawn renovations. So without further ado, that is it for the 2024 lawn renovation guide, how to make your lawn the best on the block. Now, without further ado, if you're new here, feel free to leave questions in the comments down below, or you can email them to me at my email, greatgreennorthlawncare@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and submit them through my website, greatgreennorthlawncare.ca, and we can get you helped as fast as possible with any questions. I'm always here to answer and help your questions. Send me pictures, send me requests, and we'll make sure that we can get your questions answered. And if you're looking to pick up some fertilizer or some elite turf grass blends, you can use the code. You can go to GrowForge Lawn Care Products, great Canadian company, and use code GGN23 to get 5% off at checkout, as well as supporting the channel at the same time. Without further ado, from the Great Green North, my name is Wade Murray. Thank you guys for your continued support. We'll be having more fall renovation videos coming up here soon, as well as we'll be kickstarting my fertilizer program in the fall here. In the next video coming up, we'll be talking about how to fertilize your lawn in the fall and how to get your lawn going, because the fall is the beginning of the lawn season. So without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it green.